Section 9.4, Factoring to solve quadratic equations. The objective of this section, to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Lesson vocabulary, zero product property, and an essential understanding. You can solve some quadratic equations, including equations where b does not equal 0, meaning that we do have a linear term, by using the zero product property. Consider this solve it problem. You're finishing a stained glass hanging that your friend has started. You have enough supplies to add 6 square feet to the hanging. You're planning to add the same amount to the length and width. What will be the dimensions of the hanging when you're finished? How do you know? Well, let's consider the figure. It looks as though the hanging currently has, well, maybe a height of 2 and a length or a width of 3 feet. 3 times 2, 6 square feet. So we're beginning with a hanging of 6 square feet, and we're going to add 6 more square feet to that. And that, of course, equals 12 total square feet. Note also that we can write the new length as being 3 plus x feet, and we can denote the new height as 2 plus x feet. And then we know that 2 plus x times 3 plus x would equal our new square footage, our new total area, and so we can write So you should note there are several ways that we could solve for x, but for now, just consider values of x. Try to identify one that would make this equation work. Consider factors of 12. Those may be useful. You've probably realized that an x value of 1 will lead to 3 plus 1 is 4, 2 plus 1 is 3, and we know that 4 times 3 does equal 12. Therefore, we'll be adding 1 foot to both the length and the width, and the new dimensions, or the dimensions of the final wall hanging, will be 4 feet by 3 feet. In the previous lesson, you solved quadratic equations ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 by finding square roots. This method works if b equals 0. You can solve some quadratic equations, including equations where b does not equal 0, by using the zero product property. The multiplication property of 0 states that for any real number a times 0 equals 0. This is equivalent to the following statement. For any real numbers a and b, if a equals 0 or b equals 0, then a times b equals 0. The zero product property reverses this statement. And take note, the zero product property. For any real numbers a and b, if a times b equals 0, then a equals 0 or b equals 0. An example, if x plus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0, then x plus 3 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. And let's put the zero product property to work in example problem 1. What are the solutions of the equation 4t plus 1 times t minus 2 equals 0? Well, as shown on the previous slide, we know that for this to be true, either 4t plus 1 must equal 0, or t minus 2 must equal 0. Again, that's telling us that if this stuff times this stuff equals 0, then either this stuff equals 0 or this stuff equals 0. So we can solve by setting up two equations, 4t plus 1 equals 0 and solving for t. Subtracting 1 from both sides of the equation, we get that 4t equals -1. Dividing both sides by 4, we find that t equals -1/4. And in this case, our second equation, adding 2 to both sides, we find that t equals 2. So one of our two solutions to this equation, t equals -1/4. Our other solution, t equals 2. Of course, those can and should be checked by substituting them back into the original equation, starting with -1/4. -1/4 times 4 is -1, and -1 plus 0 is 0. And 0 times, who really cares? Because 0 times any number is going to equal 0. That works. Similarly, we should check 2. So t equals 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. And again, 0 times, who cares, is going to equal 0. So these two solutions work. And your first of 4 chances to show that you have got it. What are the solutions of the equation quantity x plus 1 times the quantity x minus 5 equals 0? Work carefully and make your selection from the choices below. Question 2 of 4. What are the solutions of the equation the quantity 2x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 4 equals 0? Again, work carefully and make your selection from the choices below. Got it? Question 3 of 4. What are the solutions of the equation the quantity 2y plus 1 times the quantity y plus 14 equals 0? Work carefully and make your selection from the choices below. And got it? Question 4 of 4. What are the solutions of the equation the quantity 7n minus 2 times the quantity 5n minus 4 equals 0? Work carefully and make your selection from the choices below.